Coco Gauff speaks out on recent crackdown in US. Don't think people should be dying. Coco Gauff has never shied away from using her voice beyond the baseline, standing firm on issues that matter to her. At the Dubai Duty-Free Tennis Championships, even before her R32 clash, she spoke out against Donald Trump's policies. At her pre-match press conference in Dubai, Coco Gauff reflected on the situation back home. Everything going on in the US, obviously, I'm not really for it. I don't think people should be dying in the streets just for existing. I don't like what's going on. She also spoke about the emotional weight of following the news daily. I think for me, it is tough to sometimes wake up and see something because I do care a lot about our country. I think people think I don't for some reason, but I do. I'm very proud to be American. At the same time, Gauff made it clear that leadership does not always reflect the beliefs of the people. She emphasized her belief in unity and shared values. But I think when you're from any country, you don't have to represent the entire values of what's going on in the leadership. I think there's a lot of people around there who believe in the things I believe in, and believe in diversity and equality. So, I'm hoping as the future progresses that we can get back to those values. The discussion also referenced the passing of Alex Preddy and Renee Nicole Good in Minnesota. The incident, involving federal agents, has drawn attention and added to the wider national debate. It was part of the context behind the questions directed at Gauff. However, this is not the first time the American has spoken openly about social issues. Activism has been an important part of her upbringing and personal identity. Her family background played a major role in shaping her perspective. Her maternal grandmother, Yvonne Lee Odom, helped desegregate public schools in Delray Beach during the 1960s. From a young age, Gauff learned about civil rights, equality, and the importance of speaking up. Those lessons continue to guide her actions today. At just 16, she spoke at a Black Lives Matter rally in her hometown, Delray Beach, Florida. There, she urged people to vote and stand for justice, saying, "The silence of the good people is worse than the brutality of the bad people." Now, from the courts of Dubai, her voice once again echoes far beyond tennis. Coco Gauff speaks out on Trump's second administration policies. Even before Dubai, far from home in Australia, Coco Gauff spoke openly when asked about Donald Trump's second administration during this year's AO. When asked about the state of the country, she shared a message of hope and unity. "I hope forward that we can have a lot more peace in our country and more kindness in the way we speak to each other about different topics and things like that. Obviously, I've been pretty vocal about how I felt," she added. At the same time, the 21-year-old admitted that the subject has become emotionally exhausting. "At this point, I feel a bit fatigued talking about it just because of the fact that it is hard being a black woman in this country and having to experience things, even online, and seeing marginalized communities being affected and knowing that I can only donate and speak out. I try my best to do that." Her comments reflected both concern and responsibility. She emphasized that she continues to use her platform where possible. Despite the challenges, Gauff expressed hope for the future. She wants to see progress and a more positive environment over time. Now, as she speaks out once again on political issues, attention follows her back onto the court. The spotlight will be on Coco as she begins her Dubai Masters campaign starting tomorrow. Coco Gauff speaks out on America, more than a tennis star. At just 21 years old, Coco Gauff stands among the most prominent figures in not only tennis, but culture and public discourse. Known for her fierce athleticism on court, often she has cultivated a voice that refuses to stay silent in the face of social and political issues. In early 2026, during a press conference at the Dubai Duty-Free Tennis Championships, she made headlines around the world, not for a tennis victory, but for the moral clarity of her words. "I don't think people should be dying in the streets just for existing," she said, confronting the discomfort and tragedy of current events back home in the United States. This statement may seem, on the surface, simple, a moral truism. Yet its resonance goes much deeper when placed within the larger societal backdrop. Rising tensions around immigration policy enforcement, fatal shootings involving federal agents, and growing fractures in American political life. Gauff's comment is both personal and political, part of a broader conversation about identity, responsibility, and the role of public figures in modern society. Not just tennis. Why Gauff's words matter. What makes Gauff's remarks significant is not merely what she said, but who said it. She is a young Black American woman and a two-time Grand Slam champion whose journey, from junior wunderkind to global tennis star, has always been underscored by both talent and social awareness. She grew up in a family deeply rooted in civic engagement. Her grandmother, Yvonne Lee Odom, was involved in school desegregation efforts in Florida in the 1960s, leaving an imprint on Gauff's worldview that extends beyond sports. When Gauff speaks, she brings both personal conviction and public influence together. This platform has been used before. She has previously addressed social justice issues, including racial inequality and global humanitarian concerns. This latest comment, however, arrives at a particularly tense moment in U.S. politics and social life. Context: what was she responding to? Gauff's remarks were prompted by questions about recent violent episodes linked to federal enforcement operations in Minneapolis, Minnesota, where two U.S. citizens, Alex Preddy and Renee Nicole Good, were fatally shot by federal agents during an immigration crackdown. These incidents sparked widespread public outcry, protests, and national media attention, becoming a flashpoint in debates over civil liberties, enforcement tactics, and the ethics of state power. While she was halfway across the world preparing for competition, Gauff said she tried to stay informed about events back home, recognizing the emotional toll such developments carry for someone who deeply cares about her country. She didn't shy away from answering these hard questions, even when others urged athletes to stay out of it, a refrain often directed at public personalities who speak on political or ethical issues. Her response was clear. If asked, she will answer honestly. And she did. Pride and critique. Two things can coexist. One of the most striking elements of Gauff's statement is how she navigates the tension between national pride and critical concern. Gauff said she is very proud to be American, even as she voiced frustration with what she described as unjust loss of life. For many people, especially public figures, this tension can feel impossible. Criticizing one's own country can be interpreted as disloyalty. But Gauff offers an alternative. Love for one's country doesn't require uncritical acceptance of every policy or action. This perspective echoes a long-standing tradition in democratic societies, that true patriotism often involves dissent, especially when the stakes involve human lives, dignity,